Okay, so I am going to start with the red way. First, just going to take some fondant, about, I don't know, a fistful, I suppose. Um, you always come out with extra, whatever. So, first you want to get a lot of Crisco. You want a lot of, well, not like a lot of Crisco, but you want enough so that it's not going to stick everywhere. Fondant likes to dry out, and Crisco helps that from happening. Also, you kind of want to rub down your mat with it, or your countertops, whatever you're using, just somewhere flat. My wooden table has too many divots in it to really work with, so just kind of knead it. I don't know if you buy a particular brand of fondant or if you've ever bought it before, but I go ahead and get the Wilton stuff. It's kind of expensive, but you can buy littler packs, and they have all different sorts of colors, but if you just buy a standard white, you can make it pretty much obviously whatever color you want with standard gel food colorings, not the liquid stuff, because that's just not going to work. So, as you're kneading this, you want to knead it kind of like taffy. Just the easiest way to do it. As soon as it gets more pliable, that's when you can start working with it. It's the funnest part. So, alright. And you can obviously, if you don't like the flavor of this fondant, unless you're using your own fondant, which you can find recipes for marshmallow fondant. It tastes fantastic, but making it is super hard. I've almost broken wooden spoons trying to do it. So worth it because it tastes fantastic, but I'm sure you could buy it too if you really look for it, or if you buy it online. So I'm going to look for some black icing. I just go ahead and get the Wilton stuff. There you go. Remember, if you're using this, don't put any fondant inside of your food coloring, because then it'll rot and spoil, and nobody wants that. So just use toothpicks, just get some out of there, kind of create a little pocket within there, and then just add some coloring within it. Yeah. So fold it up, kind of start kneading it over and over again. If you hit the color with your hands immediately, you're going to end up with dyed fingers for a day or two. So if you're upset about it, whatever, you can always wear gloves if you really choose to. However, I just like the looks. Whenever people ask me, I'm like, well, I'm a baker and I'm awesome, so whatever. If your fondant's starting to get sticky like mine, just add some more Crisco to your hands. And just keep kneading. See, now it's getting a nice marbled effect, which is pretty cool if you want it that way, but we're obviously going black for a runway. For the frosting that I used, I went ahead and did a crumb coat on the cake. That way, the decorating, obviously, on top, that will take up the bulk of your frosting. So, unless you like a lot of frosting all over your cake, I suggest doing crumb coat, which is just basically a really thin layer that is just covering the cake. You can still see the cake through the frosting if you're using a white buttercream frosting. I use Wilton's recipe. It's super easy to make. You can make it with either butter or Crisco, just depending on how you feel. But the sides of it, I went ahead and did a full coat of frosting, because those sides are not going to be coated with any sort of decoration. So I'm take the other end of my toothpick, get some more frosting, or food coloring, excuse me. Just go ahead and throw it in there, because it's got that grayish hue, but it's not black yet. So this will take a good chunk of your time, just doing this here. So if you want, you can probably buy black fondant, if I didn't already say that. Unless you've got time to think and be by yourself, or you want to watch some TV. But yeah, if you didn't want to use the fondant and you wanted to do frosting instead, you could do that, definitely. I suggest doing the runway first anyways, even though you're going to use frosting, because if you get out of the lines or whatever of where you want to be with your frosting, you can always cover that up with the grass, which is going to be thick and green. So we're almost there with our fondant coloring, just a little bit more. Yeah, you have to pretty much use a lot in order to make black. Usually it's best for darkening other colors. This is going to be like, what, a 10-minute video of me just kneading fondant. This is great. I'm sorry. I wasn't cut out for this. But this is why I don't have a show. So I'm just doing it for you, Amber. Oh, God. I'm starting to get it all over myself now. And if at any point you just want to skip to an end to this video, that's fine too. My hands are all greasy and I don't want to touch my phone yet, so this is what's happening. I don't like messing too much with fondant. I mean, I guess if someone asked for it on a cake, I'd do it, but honestly, to me, I like frosting better. Fondant, and once you start cutting the cake, I don't know, it gets weird from there. Alright, so we've got this, I don't know, different colored gum all chewed together, gray, it's a lot lighter in the camera, but I'm going to add just a little bit more, and then I'm going to call it good. And I'm just going to tell you to just buy black fondant. I didn't go out today to where I would buy this kind of stuff, so whatever. Oh yeah, you can buy this kind of stuff at Michael's, probably at Hobby Lobby as well. I like going to Michael's, that's where I went for all my classes. So if you ever want to take a class, you get 10% off every of your purchases, I guess. Of course, look online. Michael's will have coupons like 40% off of one item or 50% off. So definitely look at that before you go, because fondant's kind of expensive. The smaller ones are probably going to run you $5–10, I guess. I haven't really bought any of the little ones. But this big mammoth one, I think it cost me $40. So, or more. I can't remember. It's been a little while. Fondant actually stays pretty good if you don't open the package. But as soon as you do, you're going to want to put Crisco all over the top of it where it's, I guess, exposed, like just on top of it, and then cover it up back in its wrapping, and then put it in a Ziploc bag and squeeze all the air out of it. That way it'll keep, but as soon as it starts getting hard, some of it should still be soft, but you're going to want to take off the hard part and just toss it. You can't do anything. Well, actually, yeah, you can. You can make gum paste. You put the hard, chunky parts in some water. Just like, not too much water. That'll make basically a glue, and you can use that a lot for, like, if you want to make roses or what have you. You can use it for that. If you want to glue pieces of fondant together. I almost lost my fondant there. Alright, that's about as good as it's gonna get. Anyway. But yeah, I've had this roll of fondant for 4 months now, 4 or 5 months now, and this is actually day 1 of opening it, so we will see how long it lasts that way. Alright. So we're going to want to, there are spaces. Okay. So you're going to want a flat mat or a flat cleaning area. Also, another thing that you can use instead of Crisco for this, as long as I'm not wrong, if I can find it now. Ah, here it is. Okay. It's a mixture of powdered sugar and cornstarch. It's like a third cornstarch to 2/3 powdered sugar, I think, if I'm right. Anyhow, you can use that. It's like a dusting. Keeps obviously forever. You can use a thin sock, clean, pantyhose, and they make these bags special. You can buy them pretty much anywhere, just a little bag. So you're going to want to go ahead and dust everywhere. But don't dust the top of your fondant, that's going to be exposed, or else it's just going to be white. Okay. Alright, again, everything needs to be Criscoed up. So, we're going to go ahead and flatten out into like a little patty your fondant. Just a general starting shape, that way it's easier to roll out than from a circle, pretty much. So, just lay it down, do some stuff. Alright, I bought this, it's just a plain white fondant roller. I suggest using a plastic roller rather than a wooden one because the plastic one is obviously smoother, so it's going to work better. It's not going to leave a bunch of indentations that you're not going to want. Okay, so just start in the middle, go out, start in the middle, go out. Basically, you're just going to want to roll this as flat as you want it. You're obviously not going to want it too terribly thick. I mean, you can. Again, it's just all your own preference, because this is your cake. So you want to go ahead and roll it into a general shape that you're going to want. You can use spacers as well. Wilton sells those. They're little rings that go on these rollers, and it tells you the depth at which you're at. So that way, I don't know, it can be, what do you call it? Oh, the height you want it. Jesus, the thickness that you want it. Alright, see, I got a little powdered sugar on there. Oh well. So, but if you use the spacers, you don't have to worry about if you're too thick in one spot and too thin on the other. You just rub your hand over it, obviously, and see if you can feel anything, and just work that area a little bit more. Make sure you're all Criscoed up. I hate to have dry fondant. I really would. Speaking of dried fondant, make sure you dust the entire area that your fondant's going to be on as you're rolling it out, because I'm pretty sure my top part's going to stick because I didn't roll on that part. Excuse me, I didn't powder that area. Okay, so this is good enough for me. I don't know if you can see the whole of it. It's about,